Children are a very important part of our future. Together we can save their lives. Find out how you can be a part. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Myrtle Beach Herald. We're focused on the PD division of the March of Dimes, and we're visiting with its executive director, Joe Fisher. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, Greg.
Thanks so much for coming in.
Great to be here. Always good to see you.
I should say Sterling's better half.
You
That's
got
right.
that
Instead
right.
of
he'd tell you that.
Absolutely. Y'all are about to celebrate or just celebrated 42 years of marriage.
We will celebrate 42 years of marriage July the 11th of this year.
Wow.
It's been a long journey.
Exciting journey,
yes, it
I'm
really
sure.
Is.
Yeah.
Really
Sterling's
is.
amazing.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
sure at times you say your better half, Sterling Fisher. That's right.
We have figured out now that he and I together have worked on 26 Walk Americas.
Wow.
3 motorcycle rides, 2 real estate breakfasts, and 4 chef's auctions together. So I think we're getting this down now, Greg.
Yeah, that's right. The March of Dimes is definitely in y'all's blood.
You bet. It's the mission. It's the babies. That's what it's all about, saving babies.
And that word together is a key word. You know, saving babies is important, but saving babies together is such an important aspect.
Absolutely. Whether it's our teams out working, our ambassador families, or my own family, I'm proud to say we do it as a team and we do it together.
Speaking of teams, you had some tremendous, and of course we'll focus on the Horry County Walk America for a second. We want to highlight all the other spring walkers, but you had some gigantic team support this year to see the numbers come in from Blue Cross Blue Shield as well as so many other teams, large and small teams. It was unbelievable.
Greg, I said this year after we completed the Walk America in Horry County that I believe that this is how President Roosevelt established the March of Dimes in 1938 at a grassroots level. We had small teams, we had certainly large teams, and everything in between. Horry County schools contributed 17% of our goal, and that's just kiddos and faculty members and staff putting dimes and nickels and dollar bills into popcorn buckets and doing change days for babies, and having the #1 school in the state of South Carolina, Forestbrook Elementary, last year raised $6,600 and this year raised $13,619 for babies.
More than doubled.
Yes.
More than doubled.
Phenomenal. And they did their own internal walk, and we went to that and took one of our babies out there, little Riley Saffles, our little girl.
Yes.
And her parents pulled her around in a wagon as the students were out walking, and I heard a little 3rd grader pass Riley, who was so excited seeing all these students walk around. And the little boy said, you know, that's a baby we helped save. And I heard that, and I thought, you know, that's what the March of Dimes is all about, a baby that people, whether they're teams or individuals, they help save babies like Riley Saffles. It was a great, great feeling. And you know, after all the hard work, that's what we're all about. You're not tired anymore when you hear a comment like that, Greg.
Right.
It's great.
No matter how tired your body is,
Yes.
your spirit is sure strong.
You got that right.
Those are wonderful.
And did we have a great turnout at the walk?
Wow.
I think you had to be proud as our presenting sponsor, premier sponsor for Horry County's Walk America. In the past 5 years, 350 people, 400, we had 850.
It's a tremendous turnout.
Tremendous turnout. Beautiful day. And we had a lot of activities for children, and we had good food, good fellowship, good fun, and certainly with Dennis Wade chairing the walk the past 2 years, doesn't get much better than that. And then Coach Bennett coming on, he added an impetus to the walk. He has his down-home spirit. I know you've had him on in the past, but this community should be grateful to have a coach who not only puts together good football teams, but he has great community spirit.
He does, and he loves the Lord. And of course, the great thing is his contract was extended into the next decade recently.
Great.
So we're very excited about that. And of course, you got Susan Cohen tapped for next year.
Coming on board for the next 2 years as our walk chair. Susan Cohen from Burroughs and Chapin, and then in talking with Coach Bennett after Horry County's walk was over, he said, Joe, I'd like to do this again next year, so he will step up and serve as our honorary chairman again in 2006. That'll be great for the campaign. it's never over for us.
Right.
Just because the walks have been completed technically, babies are being born every day, babies are dying every day, so we continue to raise money every day to help save a baby.
For our viewers in the PD or southeastern North Carolina who aren't familiar with Coach Bennett, he's the superstar coach at Coastal Carolina
He's the head football
University,
coach.
of course.
Right.
For you, Joe, covering the entire PD division, I mean,
Wow.
we're talking about walks in Dillon and Marlboro and Marion, things we'll be talking about in a minute, as well as some other exciting spring walks recently you held, I believe Lake City, Loris, Georgetown. You had a big
We have a
spring
big
walk
territory,
component.
and we had some extraordinarily good walks. We kicked our walk season off April the 23rd. There are only 2 of us out covering this division,
Right.
and my colleague Colleen Shanley did Loris's walk on April the 23rd. By the way, that went $6,000 over goal. It's great for that small community of 3,500. That's phenomenal. The same day we did Georgetown County's walk, which is always a very good, solid walk in a very blue-collar community, but the people really turn out for babies there. Then on April the 30th, National Walk America Day, we did Lake City's walk and we did Horry County's walk. Then we completed our spring walk season May the 7th in Dillon County with
Right.
Coach Jackie Hayes and the good folks in that community, another nice community in which we have a very outstanding program.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, of course, a couple of big walks coming up in the fall. Pete Mulford was with us recently as we filmed out at Camp Wildlife Action up on the PD River, and it was so exciting hearing him recognize the import of the March of Dimes, but also to recognize that you were recognized by the March of Dimes statewide for an exciting award recently, and, of course, that the Marion Walk was recognized for its great numbers.
Marion County's walk, we have an annual volunteer leadership conference in November held in Columbia where we bring volunteers from all over the state. And in the past 4 years, Marion County has won 2 awards for the top walk for a small community. It's grown significantly. We're talking triple-digit numbers.
Yeah.
And I think now our goal for this year is staggering. That's all I can tell you. I will be meeting with the leadership in Marion in the next couple of weeks. One of our leaders is a new legislator, Kent Williams. So
great.
Now that the session is over, we're going to be getting together to say we can make this goal. We
yeah.
didn't think we could make them in the past. We've made every one. So we just have to stretch our rubber band a little bit farther, Greg, to do it. And then Marlboro County. Both of those walks are scheduled for October the 29th.
Same day.
Same day. Colleen will be in Marlboro County. I'll be in Marion County.
Wow.
Marion County's is at the Marion County Medical Center.
Sure.
And Marlboro County's is at Marlboro County High School. So on the same day, we will do those, and then we will turn right around. And the next week, we'll have our signature chef's auction.
Oh, God,
and
Joe.
November the 7th, the Myrtle Beach Convention Center. Our good friend Lois Ergel is chairing that again.
We love Lois.
And we have a goal that's rather staggering there as
What's
well.
that? Can you share with the
I
viewers?
certainly can. Last year, the chef's auction raised $68,000, and our goal for 2005 is $90,000.
Wow.
Although Lois tends to think we can hit the $100,000 mark, I believe we can. Medieval Times is back in again. The
Great.
theme of it is Another Night to Remember, and both babies will be on hand, and we are going to have an extraordinary chef's auction. And once again, you've stepped up for babies for that event.
We're excited.
As our presenting sponsor, and we're very grateful for that.
When you say both babies, Riley Saffles
Riley Grace Saffles and Luke Warren Parrott.
and Luke Warren Parrott, of course.
We're using these babies for our walk, of course, but using them year-round. And the whole idea for us is they are the face of the March of Dimes, so both of those families will be there and will be on hand at the chef's auction. We're having some special pictures made of them to include in some of our promotional materials that we're going to be sending out on the chef's auction to say, this is a baby that you helped save. And both of these babies' lives have been touched by the March of Dimes.
Wow, that is fantastic, Joe. You know, it's such an important thing, and you've got ambassador babies in all of the communities.
All of them.
There are folks that are representative. What is the role normally of the ambassador baby, and how do they fit into the walks the day of the walk?
The ambassador families generally come to us by virtue of the hospitals in the smaller communities where we have our Walk Americas. We talk to the obstetric department and ask them to look back in their records at babies that were born prematurely who've spent time in a neonatal intensive care unit. They make the initial telephone call to ask them about being an ambassador for the March of Dimes. And once the family expresses interest, then they give us their names, and then we call them. We talk to them about everything from needing pictures to being at the kickoffs, to certainly being at the walk and leading the walk, and to being on hand if they're available to talk to companies or schools if they were to have a special program where they would like for an ambassador family to come in and share their story. We attempt and have been successful in getting feature stories in all of the newspapers in the small communities about the babies and their families, and how the families, what they've had to deal with, and how most of these babies are 24/7 babies, and how grandparents have had to get involved and other family members to give the parents sometimes a little bit of rest, because some of these babies are so sick that they spend a lot of time even in hospitals after they've come home from a neonatal intensive care unit, like Parker Wilson, who from our ambassador last year in Horry County. It's great for them, and certainly it is the face of the March of Dimes. I'm a staff person. These are the people that have spent time in a neonatal unit and they know what it's like to go in and see a baby one day next to their baby and maybe go back the next day and that baby's not there because it didn't survive.
The power out at the, let's say, a small walk like in Marion, and to see the police car pull out and of course the baby right behind it as the family is rolling along, and those are sizable walks, and oftentimes you'll see that baby and their family traveling, or babies. I think you had some twins recently at some of the walks. The family really getting into it and wanting it to be an event that, whether it's a tiring day or a hot, sweltering day, they're still out there recognizing all of what the March of Dimes does for all babies.
And talking, that's one of the nicest things, is that without a doubt, most of the families are not shy about sharing their stories, and we hear from daddies as well as we hear from mothers, and it's a powerful story coming from parents. And we decorate either the stroller or the wagon that the baby's in and give them a lot of fanfare, but they lead the walk.
They do lead the walk.
They do lead the walk.
Of course, Riley Grace's father was with us, Chris Haffles. It was so exciting to think about that impact for him, the emotional side of it, even though obviously he's not Riley, but he's making that effort to speak for her, and it's amazing to think about the efforts that parents go through, mother or father.
Before a year is over, Greg, these are families that we didn't know that have been referred to us. And by the time we complete a year in using these families and getting them out and about in a community, it becomes a love affair for us. We love the parents. We certainly love the babies, and we get to know the extended families as well. And we don't forget them when the year is over. We invite them to come back year after year so that people can find out what's happened to them once, maybe 3 or 4 years later. Are they in school? How are they doing? Or is their development where it needs to be, and that kind of thing?
Joe, it's so fascinating to think about all the things you all are doing, the PD division is doing throughout the year, not only to think of just the events in Horry County. You all are based in Conway, but you're traveling, as you said, to walks in Marion, in Marlboro, in Lake City, in Dillon, throughout the PD, really making that effort and obviously helping to support, even though I believe the Florence Walk is handled out of Columbia, to make sure that people know about that walk and to keep it as exciting and successful as possible.
We are busy all of the time. When people think our spring walk program is certainly complete, the summers must be somewhat easier. No, they're not, because preparations are underway now for the Chef's Auction, which will be November the 7th. We did not reach goal in Horry County. We're at the pressing right now, knocking on the door of $198,000, and that's a lot of money. But last year it raised $203,000. So Dennis and the committee and Nick Sherfasey, chairman of our board, we're not satisfied, Greg. We're going to do some more things.
We want to highlight that. You've got another event coming up on the 17th of June.
Yeah, we invite your listening audience on the 17th of June to join us at Coastal Grand Mall between 11:30 and 1:30 for a taste of Coastal Grand. 8 of the restaurants are going to do a tasting out in front of the mall. We're going to have entertainment. They buy tickets.
Right.
And I don't know what we'll raise that day, but hopefully, whatever we raise is something we don't have right now.
Right.
And that gets us closer and closer to our goal. And the goal is there for a reason, and that's for us to achieve it.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sure we'll surpass it as prayerfully hopeful that we'll do that. I know Dennis and Nick, and I'm sure even David and others are not going to rest until that's met.
Well, the nicest thing, too, Greg, is our national sponsors. For every walker we sign up for a walk, in December, they disseminate $2 per walker per walk site.
Great.
So in December, Horry County has 2,500 registered walkers. So in December, in addition to what we've raised here at the local level and throughout this county, an additional $5,000 will be added to that walk.
That's tremendous.
So that's going to be tremendous for us at the end of the year. And Georgetown County, we had more walkers registered than ever before. Just know, again, you have to keep at this, because the babies deserve no less than, in my opinion, our 200%.
Joe, of course, y'all had a statewide sponsor this year, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of South Carolina.
And they have been in years past.
And they had a tremendous support, as you know, from the local level on the team side.
Number one team.
There was $30-some thousand dollars raised locally.
That's wonderful. Once again, grassroots, Greg. Out doing bake sales and selling Beanie Babies, and individuals giving of themselves, and two remarkable team captains at Blue Cross. They weren't number one in 2004, and they wanted to be again in 2005.
Oh, yeah.
I love that when people are that competitive. And the schools were that way, too.
Oh, yeah, to hear that about Forest Brook Elementary, that is amazing.
Amazing.
So more than doubled what they did last year.
And we've never given an award at the Volunteer Leadership Conference for top school, but guess what, Greg? We're going to be giving one this year, and don't you know, all of us are going to be proud when they announce the number one school in the entire state. It's from the PD division, and it's from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and it's Forest Brook Elementary.
That is fantastic. A big kudos.
I'll be cheering.
Yeah.
I'm sure you will be, too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Speaking of some of the other big events, you had the real estate breakfast in December. Obviously, you'll have another one this year in 2005. I think you had some great honorees, Danny Isaac, Billy Alford of A&I.
Absolutely.
And a heck of a lot of funds were raised. I believe David Bennett spoke there as well.
Yes, he did. Billy Alford asked Coach Bennett to speak at the real estate event, and it was held December the 1st. And we're looking right now at an honoree for 2005. I don't know when that will be. It will be sometime in the fall, probably in December. It tends to fall after we do our walks and after we do our chef's auction, then to do a real estate breakfast. But we're working with David Douglas, who chairs our committee for that on our board, for a potential honoree, and we have approached that company, and they're thinking about it right now. And so hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll be able to announce that.
And Joe, speaking of the board, I'm glad you mentioned that you've got some new board members on the Horry County board, and of course I know you've got involvement with other counties and multiple involvement throughout the PD. We think about the Horry County board because it just kicked off recently. Nick Scherfese and others kicked it off not a few years ago. Share with viewers a little bit about some of the new blood on the board, as well as some rotating off possibly, or even just highlighting the local board.
Well, it's a board of 13, and it is a growing board. We were the last division in the state of South Carolina to birth a board of directors. The other divisions in Columbia, Greenville, and Charleston have had boards for a good many years.
Oh, yeah.
You serve on that board. Nick Scherfese is in his third year on that board. Recently, we did add Lois Ergel to the board. We came along and added Caroline Ewing. I know she's been on your program, chaired our Loris Walk America. We added Glenda Page, who is the Human Resources Director for Horry Telephone.
Great.
And then just recently we added Dr. Stanley. I know you had him on your show as well.
Absolutely.
With the DHEC office out in Conway, and he's a great addition to our board of directors.
Truly.
Exciting people. Lance Thompson, Ozell Newman, Franklin Long, all believe in the mission.
You would hate to leave anyone off, and please forgive me. That's right. I shouldn't have even asked the question, because 13 members, it's tough always to remember everyone. Maria Elias Williams and others who've been very active members, either locally
past chairman of the Loris Walk.
Sure.
They meet quarterly, and there are some exciting opportunities for us ahead, and One of the things the board has challenged themselves, as well as all of our counties, is to get out of the box.
Oh, yeah.
Think out of the box.
Absolutely.
And that's the reason we're doing something at Coastal Grand Mall. We're looking perhaps to do a gospel festival in Georgetown County in the fall.
Great.
Just things to do that are somewhat different, but will help us raise funds for the March of Dimes.
Great. Of course, June 17th, if a viewer wanted to learn more about Taste of Coastal Grand, they can call your office at 488-3463.
That's exactly right.
Of course, even the 8 restaurants that are participating, you can give them that info over the phone, as well as some of the potential food available, as
Right.
well as the cost of that for any viewer who wants to make that donation to the March of Dimes.
And just come and spend your lunch hour with us.
Yeah,
And
that's on a Friday.
It's on a
Great
Friday.
day.
Come and meet the babies. They're both going to be there.
Great.
Both babies will be there. Dennis will be there. We've invited Coach Bennett. There'll be a lot of coverage out there for the March of
Sure.
Dimes, and certainly some nice prize packages from the mall for people who come out and participate that day. A good time will be had by all.
Absolutely. Joe, speaking of, you mentioned something made me think about the big event, the Chef's Auction coming up. You had such an exciting Chef's Auction last year. Share with viewers a little about what they can expect at this year's Chef's Auction. Of course, you highlighted Medieval Times being involved again. How were they involved last year, and what will be their role this year?
We set up last year in the Myrtle Beach Convention Center. The ballroom looked like a castle.
Yes.
And we had the king and the princess, and we had all of the knights, and we had the footmen, and they will all be back again this year. We are going to divide the live auction from the silent auction this year. We are going to do since it's in November, we're going to do a Christmas tree, and the ornaments on it will be for sale, and they will have potential nice prizes attached to them.
Great.
In addition to that, we're going to do 2 trees of life for these 2 babies.
Oh, yeah.
And give our folks who will attend an opportunity, if they'd like to come up and just put some spare dollars on a tree of life, they're going to know those babies are alive today because of the March of Dimes. Certainly some extraordinary live auction packages, great chefs. Kim Lloyd is back on board as our lead chef.
Is that right?
That's
Great.
right.
We love Kim.
And we're looking at some new restaurants to be on board this year. While it is a tasting, you can certainly come and have dinner with us. From an entertainment perspective, we're having our first committee meeting in a week. We have 20 members on our committee this year.
Wow.
And it's, what can we do? It was a great event in 2004.
Oh, yeah.
But they certainly have raised the bar on our goal. And so we want to add some things that will be some surprises, some surprise entertainment, and certainly pictures and that sort of thing in connection with it. It's a black tie optional event, and although I did notice this past year we had more people in tuxedos than we have had in years past. It's a great location. We'll be working with a new hotel operator when they come on board.
Yes.
So the Radisson was certainly helpful last year. We know the Sheraton will be helpful this year in connection with it.
Oh, yeah. Joe, you've got to be feeling good, recognizing the volunteer support, how things have changed over the last couple of years, and, of course, your involvement in the March of Dimes has been, as you laid out with you and Sterling's involvement over so many walks and other events, but you've had this interest in your mind for so long.
I've really enjoyed it, and as I've indicated to people, I need to stay busy. We have a son in the Army. He's getting ready to be deployed for the first time to Afghanistan this fall. He was at the Chef's Auction this past year and helped us out. And so I don't need to be thinking about that a great deal. I need to be thinking about saving babies and certainly being supportive of his family being left behind, and to not lose sight of what the mission of the March of Dimes is all about. As my dad used to say, Joe, you can give out, but don't give up.
Great words, Joe. Great words. If a viewer in the PD wanted to be involved and they weren't really interested in walks, are there other things they can do? Can they come? Can they help in the office? Can they be involved in the Chef's Auction? Do you have volunteer needs
Absolutely.
for all the events?
You'll just call us at the 488-3463. We have everything from helping stuff envelopes to making telephone calls to updating lists to working registration desks. There's something there for everyone if you have a little bit of time.
Good. And volunteers can oftentimes do some work out of their house, or do they need to come to your office?
No,
or
they certainly
to
can work
meetings?
out of their home. We
Okay.
can give them projects to do. You never have enough volunteers. That's the great thing about living in America, is that we have a volunteer spirit that really permeates, and certainly here in this area of the Grand Strand as well as our division.
Absolutely, Joe. You've got to be feeling good, you know, as we think about those walks, and to know that even when a goal's not met, you still see everyone step up to the plate and say, we're going to meet it. We're going to find a way. We've got some time before the end of the year to make it happen, and they continue to ramp it up, just like last year's walk. You had multiple events that all chipped in. The opening of Coastal Grand Mall, for instance,
Phenomenal.
The funds raised there, and the Myrtle Beach Women's Club and others making donations. You don't have those every year, but know that you're making efforts to make it happen.
Well, I'm afraid sometimes it's too easy to say, well, that walk is over and now we move on to the next activity. You just can't look at it that way. You have to, again, know there's a baby born probably today from Horry County at MUSC or at McLeod's that needs our help, and so we have to continue in connection with it. My husband and I went to Washington, D.C. as soon as the walk was over in Horry County and spent 5 days. And I think when you go and visit Washington and you visit memorials, you see that we live in a great nation, Greg, that allows us an opportunity to save babies. And Sterling and I talked about that in many countries these babies wouldn't have a chance, but in America they do.
Absolutely. Joe, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Joe Fisher coming up next. You got to get these dates on your calendar. October 29th, if you live in the PD, you got to make that trip. These are Saturdays. Marion and Marlboro walks are coming up. Those are very important walks. They are ambassador babies that are involved. But we're not only doing it for the ambassador babies, we're doing it for all babies, saving babies together. You heard Joe talk about it. November 7th, it's a Monday night, critical night. The Star Chefs Auction will be a big event. Lois Ergel, Medieval Times, so many other folks making a difference for the March of Dimes. But even more importantly, very close at hand, June 17th. That's next Friday. Get it down on your calendar between 11:30 and 1:30. Wherever you live, you can make that trip in over to Coastal Grand Mall. It's the Dick's Sporting Goods entrance, the side of the mall on 17 Bypass. Only $1 a ticket. But there's other things you can buy and other donations you can make and make a difference on the Horry County Walk America. We still have time to raise funds. We still have time to hit goal. We still have time to beat goal. Give them a call at 843-488-3463 to learn more.